Henrietta wept, big crocodile tears. Her older sister, Margaret, tried to console her, but she had her own emotions to contain. Stoic Father Heinrich sat in the horse and buggy waiting to go. Mother Katharina was too emotionally spent to leave the kitchen table. To add to that malaise, it was a nasty, cold, wet, damp, overcast morning in early March. The year was 1867 in the farmland just north of Bavaria in Germany. Henrietta was 17 years old. Margaret was 19. And they were leaving for St. Louis. Now, why do people leave their homeland? Would any of you consider getting on a spaceship to Mars? Some of our future kin may have to make that decision. There are basically three reasons why people leave their homeland: adventure, escape, and opportunity. Now, the two sisters were not adventurous. They weren't really escaping any type of persecution, so to speak. They were definitely going for opportunity. There was an element of escape in their adventure to be. There was no place for them at that time in Germany. Their father was going to pass his farm down to his son and sons, and the poor girls were left to either peel potatoes or become prostitutes. Germans were leaving in droves. There was well-worn paths, many ships going back and forth. And we can give thanks to our German friends for great traditions like Santa Claus, the Christmas tree, and of course the time-honored Sunday afternoon family beer garden. Thank our German friends, and I thank my great-great-grandmother Margaret for bringing these traditions over. The Germans, the two sisters got on the buggy, went to the train station after a half-day ride. They had gathered themselves. They took the train to Bremerhaven on the North Sea, and there they had to wait for several days, perhaps weeks, before their ship docked. Now, cargo ships at that time were the main transportation mode for immigrants. You see, the cargo ships were coming over from America loaded with tobacco and cotton, lumber, or all sorts of heavy loads. And once the ships got to Europe, they needed to go back to get more. So they would load themselves up with immigrants. And it was a lucrative, highly profitable trade. And with huge profits comes greed, and with greed comes disasters. And there were many disasters in the 1800s. Ships that totally disappeared. Many thousands of immigrants were never heard from again until there were laws made, until there were manifests and people's names were written down. So as the two sisters waited, they gathered themselves. Finally, their ship comes. It's no Titanic. Even steerage in the Titanic was better than the conditions on these cargo ships. There was bunks, and the two ladies got their bunks. They stood in line, a long line, for the toilet. And they began to realize that their next 2 months, they would be eating a lot of prunes. They sailed away from Bremerhaven, and if you can imagine getting on that spaceship to Mars, and you see your world getting smaller and smaller and smaller. This is how I imagine how they felt as they went down through the English Channel and watched their homeland go away. As they sailed out into the blue, they spent the next 2 months at sea, wondering and waiting in line for the toilet. Then, New Orleans, a world-class seaport, ships as far as the eye could see, and the people, the strange, strange people of post-Civil War America. Creoles and Cajuns and indentured slaves, black and white. Scallywags, gamblers, bad people from the Civil War. Again, the two sisters were able to find their ship, their side wheel paddler, and take the 2-week trip up the Mississippi to St. Louis. And on a warm summer day, as that paddle wheeler pulled into the humid climes of St. Louis, Henrietta wept big crocodile tears. Thank you.